Radio to sign up for Cannabis College. He was listening to that segment with bated breath today. I think we may have a potential student on our hands. And if you can believe it, we only have about a half hour left of our coverage today, and we're going to go down to some local music. Or as we get towards wrapping it up, we're going to bring it down a notch, but we're going to hear some local music nonetheless. We're going to hear from Thayer Cabin, and this is Don't Be Afraid. You are tuned in to Rhode Island Free Radio, online at rifreeradio.org. We'll be with you for a little bit more from Providence, Rhode Island, and the Rhode Island Cannabis Convention. Here's some Thayer Cabin, some good advice. Don't be afraid. A little local music, Don't Be Afraid, the name of that one you just heard from the incomparable Thayer Cabin. Incidentally, they have a brand new EP out. Don't forget to check them out online as we support local music here. Thayer Cabin. I can't begin to explain what Thayer Cabin is. They kind of have the gypsy sound, but they're acoustic, and you got to check them out on Facebook. It's Thayer Cabin, spelled just like Thayer Street, Thayer Cabin. Check them out. Tony Jones here, Rhode Island Free Radio, online at rifreeradio.org. And if you can believe it, we are down to our last half hour of broadcasting today. It's always a good sign, a sign of a good broadcast, I should say, when you're getting to being at 3 hours of broadcasting. My mouth is killing me. My vocal cords are killing me. And it feels like we just sat down here. So we're going to continue, of course. You do have time to get here to the Rhode Island Convention Center for the first ever Rhode Island Cannabis Convention coming up, actually happening right now. The 3 o'clock panel is Cannabis Testing and Quality. They'll have the panel, and then after that they will, of course, have the question and answer session. So if you're interested in that, there's still time to get down here. I believe the convention will be going until 5 o'clock tonight, and we've been here hanging out all weekend. I am joined by my co-host, the PO taxpayer, Pat Ford, and joining us, sitting down with us from Rhode Island Free Radio's own 13 Folds Radio, multimedia. They have, of course, the tactile, the physical magazine you can get. They have the online magazine and the podcast. These guys, like myself, like Pat Ford, we understand the omni-media approach to getting this information out there. Dave is here from 13 Folds.
Hello. Thanks for having me, man.
So we're seeing this kind of cottage industry of alternative media. We had the folks from 1,000 Watts here earlier, and, of course, we should have had you on at the same time because they're kind of a direct competitor. You guys could just battle to the death here on the show.
I'd kill them. Wouldn't be fair. but but no, we're really not competition, because what we've done is we've kind of taken the niche market and branded everything so different and there's nothing else like 13 Folds. And their 1,000 Watts is a monthly. They talk about legitimate stuff. We talk about illegitimate stuff and legitimate stuff, and we combine them into complete nonsense.
You guys have writers like George Garner and Tony Jones. That's definitely not legitimate.
We're really they're more into the medical end of it. And no offense, I didn't mean to illegitimize you, Tony. But they're more into the medical end of things, where we're more into the politics. So we really don't cross paths too much. But sometimes we tend to delve over into the medical end of it, and that's why I grabbed Kevin. I grabbed Kevin from Canacare and brought him in with me today, because I can't talk about medical, but I have friends that can.
Right.
Thank you so much. My name's Kevin Kafker from Canacare Docs. We have 14 offices throughout New England. Very happy to be on and very gracious to have Canacare on your radio show. I'm happy to answer any questions about the medical program in any of the New England states for you.
Well, what I was curious about is are you guys looking at coming into Rhode Island at all? Have you been looking into that?
We have. We've been looking at coming into Rhode Island for 2 years now. The reason we're not is we have a location in Seekonk, Massachusetts, right over the border across from Pawtucket, that services most of Rhode Island.
Okay.
And our price is substantially cheaper than our competitors in Rhode Island, so we're doing very well off of our Rhode Island patients already.
All right.
We feel that it's very easily accessible to come to the Seekonk location.
Now, so somebody who wants their medical card, they can get the recommendation in Massachusetts and then apply here in Rhode Island? Is that how it works?
That's exactly how it works. Our doctors are licensed in Rhode Island as well, and they could fill out the Rhode Island paperwork. A little bit more challenging for patients of Rhode Island to get the processing done through the state, but not impossible. It's about a 2 to 4 week turnaround because it's done through snail mail compared to Massachusetts.
Only in Rhode Island.
Compared to Massachusetts, where the patients walk out of the office with their ticket, and that gives them all the rights as the patients have.
Now, if Massachusetts could get on the ball with opening up the dispensaries in a timely manner, you guys would be rolling.
We're waiting very patiently, as well as the patients of Massachusetts are waiting very patiently for the opening of dispensaries, which should take place, God willing, within the next 4 weeks.
Well, the first one is going to be in Salem, if I'm correct?
Salem, and the Salem location's already taking appointments for patients.
All right.
The big problem we have with only opening one dispensary is we're close to 15,000, maybe 25,000 patients in Massachusetts. To have one dispensary service all of their medical needs is impossible. So we're waiting very patiently for the other 34 locations to open.
Now, I'm curious, what's like the basic demographic that of people that are coming to you? Because we have this very bad stereotype that the rest of America looks at patients that are going in, or caregivers, like, oh, they're just using it as an excuse. It's kids wanting an excuse to get high. What would you say, like, the realistic demographic is there?
The realistic demographic is there is no demographic. We're seeing 18-year-olds with cancer. We're seeing 90-year-olds with bone issues. I mean, really, if anybody could come to any of our offices and sit in the parking lot and see the kind of people that are walking in. It's not a 19 to 25-year-old kid with a back problem who's just using medical marijuana for recreational purposes. I mean, it's a very diverse group of people that are coming into our clinics for relief.
Nice. I need some for my cataracts. Can you help me out there?
Are you a Rhode Island resident?
I'm a Rhode Island resident.
Having cataracts would qualify you in Rhode Island.
All right.
Yep.
No. What else you guys got going on now? I know you've been aggressively marketing in Mass. You got how many, like 50 offices or something like that?
We have
15?
14 offices throughout New England. We're going into Connecticut on the 1st of June in West Hartford, Connecticut. Very excited to be satisfying the need in the Hartford market. Very active in Maine with 4 locations. Obviously, throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we're loaded, taking care of patients' needs.
All right. Now, how did you get involved with this? Because I went and I wanted to talk to my primary care physician about medical marijuana, and she skirted around the top, wouldn't even have it with me. And a lot of doctors are under that same mentality. How did you get involved with doing this? Like, you weren't scared to get in, to jump that fence, to cross that line?
No, not at all. We have 14 doctors on our staff, and they're all true patriots, if you ask me. I got started in Colorado, where my home base is. Started working in the dispensary game 10 years ago. Worked my way through those channels through the caregiving systems, and we found this dramatic need in Massachusetts and New England for cannabis doctors that specialize in cannabis. Just like you go to see an eye doctor if you have an eye issue, you should really see a cannabis specialist if you have a cannabis issue. And our doctors are not scared of the insurance companies and the corporate medicine that's out there, and they're free to write the recommendations under their license, and they choose to do that.
Right.
We're very, very proud of all of our doctors.
Have you received any pressure from the federal government?
From the federal government,
Yeah.
besides us paying our taxes, no.
Okay.
No, we have received a lot of local pressure, which we have a full legal team. We have a regulatory attorney. We also have a criminal defense attorney looking out for our best interest and making sure that everything's done according to state regulations. And it seems that every state that we operate in, as long as we follow the regulations to a T, they let us operate with immunity, as long as we're in the box of regulation, which we follow to a T.
Well, I would imagine, too, at a certain point, they're dealing with stereotypes, and once they see that you're a serious operation, that you're run by doctors, for the patient, then there's a legitimacy that can take place over time. I mean, they're all, whether you're in government or not, the scare, paranoia, the urban legends that surround all of this have to be dispelled at every level.
Correct.
It's, you provide such a valuable service to the community. How long have you been in business?
We've been in business in New England for 3 years. 3 years now.
And in terms of where you stand in terms of a political, I'll call it a political angle, for lack of a better term, are you folks staying away from the political forces that are looking to legalize and to extend medical cannabis? Are you staying apolitical, or do you actually advocate on a political level?
No, we don't do any activism besides our day-to-day, just daily business operations, which we consider the most important advocacy of them all. We are a for-profit company, but we do donate a lot to these not-for-profits. We do support them monetarily, but we don't support them with our manpower or our staff.
Okay, interesting. What's a typical staffing level? What makes up one of your offices? If you walk into your office for the first time, who typically will you see first, and what's the process?
Good question. So when you come to our office, we have a receptionist who will meet you at the door. You're going to fill out a medical history form and bring in any medical records that are related to your condition. After you fill out the form, our employee will check it over, make sure you didn't miss anything. Then you're